But let's get talking about Lenin. I'm going to start with Paroka. Can you just explain a little bit the context under which this book, State and Revolution by Lenin, was written?
Well, Lenin relied heavily on Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, on the original Marxists. And in those days, as today, the capitalists said that, well, our system is the normal system. What exists now has always been existing. That goes for the private property has always existed, the family, the state. And Marx and Engels, they questioned all these eternal truths. They said, well, they found out it's not always been private property. It's not always been the type of family that is the so-called normal today. Not always been a state apparatus. And in fact, all those three had the common origin. Because when there was a surplus produced in society and a small group to control an ownership of that surplus, they needed, well, they invented then private property, obviously, but they needed a family to control it, and they needed a state to control it. And the state, someone can think maybe the state is a country, or the state is a nation, or the state is a society. But the state is neither. The state is an organization to hold order, to give and keep the power with the ruling class. And that's needed when there are shortages, when there is inequality, when you want to divide things more to some and less to others. And they also act in the common interest of the ruling class. Marx in Capital writes that they had to stop child labor because the working class was about to die. The working class would not survive if every child was working in the factories of textile industry and coal mining or so in England at that time. So the state also sometimes intervened against a wing of the bourgeois class. But the state is preferably, they want it to be seen as impartial, as something above, something intervening to sort out conflicts, to order the queues, to deal out rations. And also when they need to punish someone, when they need a force to put someone in prison or to decide that, well, you're breaking the law. And that's why the most important part of the state, Marx and Engels concluded, that's the police and the military. And Engels invented this saying that the state is armed bodies of men. That's what the state is to its nucleus, or the most important part. They also built, Marx and Engels also built on the experience of the Paris Commune. And that's 1871, and it's 150 years ago, and we've had episodes in Word to Win about the Paris Commune. The workers held power for 2 months. Karl Marx had criticism or advice to the workers who held that power. He said, well, you were isolated to Paris, it should have spread. You should have confiscated the central bank. But most important, you can't take the previous ruling apparatus into your own hands. You have to create your own new controlling apparatus. The working class needs its own state. It can't start with no state, because there will still be shortages, there will still be problems to deal with in society. So they need their own organ to organize the state. This was the basis from Marx and Engels on which Lenin built his conclusions and wrote State and Revolution.